Casey.
And I'm Fallon.
And this is
Render the Darkness.
Did you flick yourself in the head?
No, what?
Oh, I thought you went. I was like, why? Fun fact for this episode, and it's also one of those I wish I knew before I was 30 things. Rubber bands last longer when you refrigerate them.
That's very weird, but okay.
I don't know why, they just do. Maybe it has something to do with what they're made out of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it somehow lasts longer when it's cold.
I guess, I mean, the
like
elasticity.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe if it's cold. I don't know. That's really weird, though.
I don't know, man. I might be looking into the details of these facts. I just give them. That's not true. I do look into some of the details of these facts, but I kind of thought that one was self-explanatory. But apparently it's not, because I can't give you a reason. So. Oh. But just know that they do. It has been proven that rubber bands do last longer when you refrigerate them.
Okay.
Also, I want to throw in on a side note before she gets started on the case that you're going to see us wearing the same clothes for the next 2 episodes, this one and the next one, and that's because we're going out of town for a few days, and so it kind of intervened on our recording time, so we are double recording these episodes. We're not editing them at the same time, but we are double recording them. So we're not nasty. We're not wearing the same clothes for every recording. We're just recording them at the same time. Anyway, also a fun fact. We're recording them at the same time. That's why we in the same clothes. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this episode is one of our WTF episodes. Now, sources say that there was a scene in a movie that was inspired by this case. Now, this is the murder of Marilynn DePue.
Sorry.
That
was awful and insensitive, and I'm sorry.
I mean, I did say Pew.
It's the way that you said it. It made me think of Pepe Le Pew.
Oh yeah.
That was in my mind. I just seen Pepe Le Pew, and that was really horrible. And I'm sorry. It was not the person. It's the way she said it.
Making fun of the way I talk.
No, I wouldn't
ever. Okay, so a couple by the name Ray and Marie Thornton were taking a drive on Snow Prairie Road as they normally did on the weekends. That was Easter Sunday, April 15th, 1990. Snow Prairie Road is a rural highway around about 12 miles from Coldwater, Michigan. Now, Ray looked in the rearview mirror and seen a Chevrolet van racing towards them. A little while before this happened, the couple were playing a game trying to make catchphrases out of license plates of the passing vehicles.
I played that game.
Now, a van sped by them, and Marie seen the license plate started with GZ, so she said, quote, Geez, he's in a hurry. Now, as they were driving down the road, they were coming close to an old abandoned schoolhouse, and a couple saw the same van that sped by them earlier by the side of the schoolhouse. Now, as Marie continued to look, she seen the driver had what looked like a bloody sheet going towards the back of the school. Yeah. Not knowing if she really saw what she thought she saw, her and her husband talked about whether they should call the police when Ray seen a van coming closer to them in the rearview mirror. Now, the van that they had just seen at the school was right on their bumper and stayed on them for about 2 miles. Now, scared, not knowing what else to do, the couple pulled off the highway out of sight, and they were able to see that the van pulled onto the side of the road. Now, wanting to get a full license plate for the police, Ray turned around. When they got close to the van, they noticed that the driver was now changing the license plate. They also seen that the passenger side door was open, and inside the passenger seat was covered in blood. The couple sped back to the schoolhouse and seen that the bloody sheet was halfway stuffed into a hole. The couple called the police and told them what had happened, and at this time the police were already looking for him and his wife Marilyn. Now, the man that they were looking for was named Dennis DePue. Dennis was born on June 13th, 1943 to Claude and Elma Grove DePue in Michigan. He graduated from Michigan State University with a bachelor's in business education. For 20 years, he worked for the Department of Treasury as a property tax specialist. Marilyn was born on January 24th, 1941 in Detroit, Michigan to Dallas A. and Betty Martz McLennan. Dennis and Marilyn got married in 1971. and she was a counselor in Coldwater that all the students and teachers loved. They had 3 children, a boy and 2 girls. Now, throughout the years, Dennis started to become controlling and paranoid. He started to pull away from his family and would often say that his wife was turning the children against him. In 1989, Marilyn filed for divorce on the grounds that Dennis was trying to make every decision for her and was very controlling. Now, after the divorce, Marilyn kept the house and Dennis moved out, but he would keep an office in the garage of the home. On Easter Sunday in 1990, Dennis went to the house to pick up 2 of the kids. The youngest absolutely refused to go with him. When he went into the house, he got really angry when his son started to refuse to go as well. When he talked to Marilyn about it, he got even angrier, grabbed her, and yelling at her. He then pushed her down the stairs and started to beat her at the bottom as her frightened children watched in horror. They begged him to stop, and the oldest child ran to the neighbor's house to call the police. At this point, Marilyn was really hurt, so Dennis told the kids that he was taking her to the hospital, but he never did. A forensics team went to the schoolhouse and sealed it off. They found tire tracks in the dirt that matched Dennis's van tires. The evidence pointed to the possibility that Dennis had killed his wife, and unfortunately, the next day her body would be found. She was found on a deserted road, and she had been shot in the back of the head, and Dennis was nowhere to be found. In the following weeks, friends and family would start to get strange letters in the mail from Dennis. He was trying to justify his actions against Marilyn. The letters were sent from Virginia, Iowa, and Oklahoma. He would accuse her of tricking and lying to him during their marriage and said that he had lost everything and he was too old to start a new life.
What happened to the kids?
I mean, they were still there.
Who had them though?
No, I don't know. Maybe the grandparents or.
Huh. Dennis.
Now, a woman who lived in Dallas, Texas, was pulling up to her home when she noticed Hank Queen, her boyfriend's van, in the driveway. To her, this was kind of weird because he would normally keep it in the garage. When she got inside, he told her that his mother was really sick and he needed to go home. Now, at the time, he was watching Unsolved Mysteries and he was quickly getting all of his things packed up. Now, he asked his girlfriend if she would make him some sandwiches for the trip, hoping that she wouldn't look at the TV. The second half of the show was about a man named Dennis DePue who was wanted for killing his wife. He left as fast as he could because he was afraid that some of his girlfriend's friends might recognize him from the show as Dennis.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And he would be right because the police got a tip from the show about his false license plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got caught.
He wasn't very smart about the whole thing, thank God.
Yeah. Now, Dennis drove to Louisiana and then he went to Mississippi. The police saw Dennis's van and they ended up in a 15-mile high-speed chase. In Warren County, the police set up a roadblock, and when Dennis speeded through it, they shot out his rear tires. Now, Dennis returned shots trying to run the police off the road. Eventually, the van came to a stop, and when police approached the van, Dennis was found deceased. He had a .357 in his left hand, and his thumb was still resting on the trigger.
Coward's way out.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell he was a coward anyway, but...
Yeah. Now, Marilyn, who was 49, was laid to rest with so many of her friends and family at her funeral. She was buried in Oakland Hills Memorial Garden Cemetery in Novi, Oakland County, Michigan. Dennis, who was 47, was buried at Eagle Cemetery in LaGrange County, Indiana. Now, I'm sure by now most of you, if you like horror movies, know what scene and what movie was inspired by this horrific tragedy. Can't read, you're reading it.
I love horror movies, and I don't.
But if you don't, the movie is Jeepers Creepers. And the scene is the scene at the very beginning where the older couple was getting chased by the monster.
How is that related to this?
You don't remember at the very beginning?
No, I remember the
schoolhouse?
scene. I remember the scene, but are they trying to imply that Dennis was the creeper?
No, they're just saying that particular murder inspired that scene. Oh. Not the entire movie, just that particular scene, because...
I was going to say, you know how many horror movies exist where that's the exact situation? Anyway.
Yeah, not just the chase itself, but like the whole thing, like the schoolhouse and what they seen, like, because at the very beginning of that lady seen him throw a body.
Right.
So that's what.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember it. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I do. And crazy that this episode was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. Well, maybe not.
That was pretty good. Hey, you got all your facts in?
Yeah.
Didn't have to be long. You got it all in 10 minutes. Good job.
Short episode.
That was a short episode. That's awesome.
But, I thought it was pretty interesting that, because like she said, it's a really good movie, one of my favorite movies, and I didn't realize that scene was based on an actual murder case.
Yeah, short of the director and writer's mind work.
Yeah. Now, in the show notes, if you haven't seen the movie or if you don't remember, I will link a YouTube video with that particular scene in it.
All right. Well, that sucks for Marilynn DePue. That's awful. It's a tale far too commonly told. Where a spouse takes matters into their own hands and chooses the fate of someone that they don't have to. It's called divorce, people. You don't have to murder your spouse.
Yeah.
You can leave.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, honestly, with the way they were talking, he must have had some kind of...
Like a psychological...
Yeah, mental break or something like that. Because, he was really paranoid throughout the years and stuff, so maybe he just...
Yeah.
Not saying that's an excuse by any means. Just saying I think that may have been what happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing your case.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here and listening to it.
Hey, no problem. I live here. Hey. It's easy for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed the case, and that was our WTF for getting you prepared for Hawaii cases coming up next.
Hawaii.
Sorry, I think I might scratch you. Okay, that's our time for this episode. And thank you guys. If you like what we're doing, you like the stories that we're telling, please give us a like, a share, a follow, a subscribe. Any of those things helps. We appreciate it very much.
Yes, thank you.
But for now, see you next time.
Bye.